Good morning, at least for those that have AM on their clock right now. It is the 29th day of July 2019. My name is Derek. Like always, all bets, trades of the like within each his own risk and their own reward. Can you see any bullish signs here on this 1 minute term time frame for GRS? And this is going back in time to like a couple hours plus ago. I mean, the market was in a decline. We seen it go from 28 down below 27, and it even went down to close to 26. But even when we take a look at each of these minutes, we can see the lack of volatility even on Binance. This 1 minute period here, 26.69, 26.48, that's just a mechanism of the bid ask ratio spread being very close to 1% on there. And then you just don't get many trades in here, as we can see with this individual line. And we look at the time. This is 5:52. Oh, then 5:54. Nothing happened on 5:53. And then 6 o'clock. That's like 5 minutes. Nothing happened. Then 6:02, 6:08, like a 6 minute period of nothing happening. 6:08 to 6:18. Oh, 10 minutes there. Then 6:21. The following period had a pretty small breakout, but you couldn't think it was small at the time. 3.19%. Okay, well, how did we follow that? With more continuation higher and big, much more here. This was a 2.5% minute again, and then it goes up again, and we're starting to see movement, volume. We're not seeing these types of candle paint the pictures like we are before, where nothing trades for minutes. Those individual lines. We're seeing movement, of course, like you normally would. And as it continues on further, it went higher, over 3,000. So now that's a fantastic move. But it goes even higher than that, 3,300, 34, 35. Lifts the 18 average, we go close to 36. We break that 36 number. And then correctionary move, and then we break it to 38 in the Satoshi field. And as we're working onto this market as we stand, that's where we are laying or are placing right now. All right then. So was I a buyer or a seller this morning? I was an aggressive seller. After all, when we look at the percentage gain on the day, it's that of 32.6%. It was obviously a little bit higher. And I'm going to take a look at this against the pact of the past, like longer term. But I want to use Bittrex only because it has more data. And if we look at this move in here, this doesn't look like much, and a lot of it is because of its poor logarithmic scaling. Thankfully, I have the option where I can multiply this by 100 million, which is 100, three more zeros, when you multiply these Satoshi numbers. It looks a little bit bigger now, but still nothing too fantastic after all. What I've been saying so often about this is how often they can have these kinds of moves. This was just a fantastic one in here. 120%. I mean, right now, again, we're like 33. Maybe intraday or into tomorrow, this thing does go up to 5,000 Satoshi. It very easily could. Mathematically, the probability odds of a move of like another 1,800 or so basis points or 50% gain. It's a lot higher than it has been for a long time because it's in that live situation. There's that big move up here back in April of 2018. And then we have all of these other up and down moves. So how high is this able to go? And if we look at where we stand within this coin, here we had it from 2014 all the way into 2017 resisting this 820 or so. Basically, about 800, a little, about even 1,000. And even you could even say 600. Supporting as deep as like 88. We have 118, and I guess 170 would have been a key support. But since this move, which established this resistance at around 17,800, it's been holding it pretty good. So any of these rallies that could come in, X could very easily end up going in time to that level. And if that's the case, then we'll keep selling this as I'm supposed to. But right now, for what it's worth, this is an individual move. All the other coins aren't making these spectacular moves today. In fact, everything else is just, whatever, nothing big going on. And I'm ratio trading GRS against two coins, one being Litecoin. And well, Litecoin's really not doing anything here in the daily, just hanging around in here. I made a very aggressive buy on Litecoin compared to my previous ones on here because of a 40% move in one direction. If we take a look at the crossing of Litecoin and GRS, so far it looks like this. So everything that Litecoin gained from May 26th up to I will say June 29th, a little over 1 month, it's given back today. And that's exactly how I perform my ratio trade. I have set it up so that every single GRS coin that I have made or I'm plussed, I'm pretty much back to even. I'm right where I started. But I got more Litecoin than where I started now, which is really what I'm using this as a thing to do, is to gain my Litecoin, gain my other coins within such. We look at this on a 15-minute time frame. This is I got an alert and ready to go. Let's see if we can see it on here. I mean, I might be selling some Litecoin here pretty soon. It's going up. Yep, right. And I got an alert right here at 271. It's that close already? I might try to go for. Yeah, that makes sense because I got 243 or so on the ratio. 245. I got a good number. I mean, that's what happens when you are still sleeping at 7 up in here, which I was. So I got up and I seen only one of my alerts came off on the two for the GRS, and I'm like, okay, whatever, one alert. I'm thinking, yeah, that's not many. The way things have been going, that's a lot because not much has been going on with markets. I haven't been making too many trades lately compared to some of the days before because the market conditions are lighter. And yes, I'm either going to wait for it to make a break above here, and if that's the case, this is in high volatile terms. As normally I'm looking for moves of around 10%, I got to take it. We're already like in a 2% variable because if I last trade at 240, with that being said, I'm just going to move this line up. Can I do it easy enough? Yep, I can. Let's do 290. Let's go for a bit better of a gain. It's after all, we're on the high volatile times. So that's what I'm doing with that. The other one is Litecoin and DGB. And I don't think I've completed the trade. I think I got 106, I believe, as a buy order that I'm waiting. It's not that I really want much of a cheaper price, although I'll take it. Rather, I know I might just end up buying GRS back, and that looks like the direction in which it might be heading towards. We're at 35.82. My sale was 37.10, 37.11 on the Satoshi number. And because I know this is going to be high volatile, and I'm looking at this thinking, yeah, this could easily break down. Well, why not just put a buy order? And maybe I should even put a buy order for like 105 or 104. And then if this just goes down here, I can just buy GRS back with Bitcoin, and then just basically I would buy back like 70%, 75% of what I sold, and then I would just allocate the rest into the actual ratio trade. Meaning, I sold a decent amount based on my normal selling, three times higher than my last amount. So what I might do is I might put a buy order in. I can only have one buy order in, so I might remove my DGB buy order and then put a buy order in for here, maybe somewhere around 32, and then work it from there. And then if that goes away, which means the market doesn't go there, I can just buy the DGB later and then complete the ratio trade at a different time frame. But again, and I've just made the change to my um, orders. So I removed my DGB order. I put a buy order in for GRS at 10% lower from here, if not a bit more than that, near 32. As the reason why is it's volatile. 32 is just a conservative move. This could easily come down to 30, 31. But breaking this level of resistance in here because we've had a good intraday correction, well, that could have these big continuations. Because like I mentioned earlier, the chances of a 50% move from here on in. Now at like 60%, even 55 because of the small retracement. Well, that means that good chance. Higher chance is normal because of what has just happened. I mean, 2600 up to 38. That's a 1.5x, 50% in the span of a cup of coffee getting really cold because it's 2 hours. Usually I'll say sometimes, oh, in a span of a cup of coffee, this market goes up because it's like 10, 15 minutes. But good volatility. Let's take a look at some other markets to finish this video off. And I'll start with Komodo as the next one. And this is just interesting more than anything. First, we got this breakout, failed one, obviously, on July 5th. We're still unsure if it's successful correction from the breakout. But when we look at the layers of the correctionary move in here, first looking into like the mid to July period, July 11, 15, 18, in this area here, decent volatility, band becoming really fat, especially when we compare it to the bit before. But what's the deal with these last 6 days? And among the 8-hour time frame, it just looks really interesting in here. And you can see we've had a symmetrical triangle, which was terrible line, but you get the idea. This in here, it's broken. It's just been doing this yada yada nothing for. So it almost seems as if this is like the calm before the storm kind of deal. I just don't know which direction the storm is, but the way the cryptos work, I wouldn't be considering the bigger moves are usually up faster than lower. I wouldn't be surprised if it's higher, but I just think it's interesting. I'm not saying that it's an overly great bullish setup because I don't even like to say it is. If anything, you could say it might be bearish as it's playing in here, but yeah, I find this very, very interesting. Now, Waves has some interesting moves as well. We had this failed breakout here at the early part of July, fast move lower. And we had this breakout attempt in here. You could call it a failed breakout as well. But look, correctionary mode has just been interesting. July 16 all the way through July 28. This is the 8-hour term. What we are seeing is this after this rally top here on July 26th, how this level of support was supporting this previous level of resistance, and now excitation of the 18 average on this. So this is a possibility of having a decent size move. It's got to get above this level of resistance to have a test of between 1500 and in here. But as we look at this on the daily term time frame, just getting above the 18 average of highs means that maybe if you establish, all you would be doing is establishing a level of resistance, making a statement that you want to get rid of, get into stage 2, because stage 1 is band flattening it, and that of course is so in play. Let's finish it off within Bitcoin. And it's really not doing too much, but it's keeping this bearish setup in play, which is in this. But earlier, let's just see what happened from last night. Because there was this interesting buy. Market comes up and establishes a big level of resistance here at 97.18. Now, yeah, you watched my video yesterday to see details. I'm not going to show you the short-term analysis of it, but it was a wild move that occurred. And then after the fact, how was it reacting from the failed breakdown and really fast move higher? Well, we had some sideways consolidation in here that did, for a while, hold and stay above where it came from. But that's the key thing. It did it for a while. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of these hour periods that occurred. A lot of time for people to soak in that move. buyers not coming in, and now the price action has this red move back to where we came from, showing now this is a little bit of a failed breakout, not to the same intensity as this, but it remains in this more longer term, oh, intermediate term, I should be saying, same sideways slash descending triangle format like. Meaning we establish support in here, and if we break support, like I state, we got this little congestion area here in the low 8,000s. Who knows if it's going to be low or mid or high because it really covers the entire 8,000 ground with this high of 89 and this congestion here at like 8,000. So the entire 8,000s area I think is where I'd be looking for support, and I couldn't give you a better number from one to the next. But and if it goes down there, and I don't think it will, but if it does, and there's a serious breakdown below this 9,300, we're looking at around 6,300. If it does break down and we come down to this area, that does leave the possibility of a failed breakdown, but that's all it is that of a possibility. Thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. Bye bye.